Hey, what's up, prosperity people? We're in the house.
Welcome to the Own Your Family, where real stories and proven formulas are shared about leaving the rat race so you can achieve freedom and spend more quality time with your family. Get ready, mompreneurs and dadpreneurs, to get inspired by earning from home, living healthy, and aspiring for more in life with your hosts, Renat and Katrina.
Let's begin with this thought. Prosperity is not money and material things. It's a state of consciousness. And poverty, therefore, is not a lack of money and material possessions. It too is a state of consciousness. And what I want to discuss today is how which one of those two states you possess, that which one of those consciousness, which one of those states of consciousness that you possess, how it determines the size of the window that you view the world through. So allow me, if I can, to begin with a blessing. I send forth this prosperity offering, knowing that it blesses and multiplies all who are open to receive it. And so it is. Welcome. Good morning from Miami. Good afternoon, good evening, you guys, wherever else in the world you might be. This is the Prosperity Unchurch. It's not a religion. It's not a church. It's a community of consciousness that I'm conducting as a thought experiment. It's a for-profit prosperity ministry where I model the principles that I teach. And the principles that I teach, that you share and you collaborate with me on every time we do one of these broadcasts, are the principles of abundance, prosperity, circulation, and just as important as all the rest, free enterprise. So you're in one of these camps right now. You've either got poverty, fear-based poverty consciousness, or you've got love-based, abundance-based prosperity consciousness. How did you get here? And if we're going to go by the numbers, going by what goes on everywhere in the world, we'd say 80% of the people who find their way to the sound of my voice, whether podcast, YouTube, or here on the live show, are kind of rooted in fear-based poverty consciousness. And understand that is fear-based. I choose that term very deliberately because it's based on fear of, well, if I become successful, what will other people think if I'm really rich? Fear of, if I really become successful, am I going to fit in with my family? If I become really wealthy, are my friends going to accept me anymore? Am I going to be in the group, or am I going to be an outcast? Fear of missing out, fear of loss. What if I lose this? Why, how can I take a day and go to a day spa and get a facial and a massage and a pedicure? I might need that money for groceries sometime if something happens, right? There's this fear, and that's why I say that's fear-based. How did you get there? Well, you weren't born with those fears, right? We have the fears we're born with: loud noises, falling. I think there's another one, I don't remember what. But we're not born with fear of not fitting in. We're not born with fear of, what if I put up this post on Instagram and I only get one like and no shares? this is not a fear anybody was born with, right? This is a fear that you developed. And as we got older and we went to toddlers, we were taught, no, 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 slap on the wrist, pushed down, held back, no, no, no. And as we got to grade school and as we got to middle school and high school, by that point, you heard no 1.5 billion times. And what you got counseled was be more realistic. And, there's no other way to say it. When 99% of the time, when somebody's telling you to be more realistic, they're telling you, kill your dreams. They're telling you, hey, give up on those aspirations. Little girls don't grow up to be brain surgeons. Why don't you take a nursing course instead? Listen, nobody from Nigeria becomes a .com billionaire. Let's be realistic. Listen, nobody from this neighborhood has ever got out of the neighborhood and become a world-class opera star. You need to be more realistic. Hey, you're 5'11". There's no way you're going to make it in the NBA as a basketball player. Let's be more realistic. And that's coded talk for give up on your dreams. And you're assaulted with it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So what happens? I'm going to categorize it falling into 3 dilemmas. And these are the dilemmas, because here's what happened. When you hear the no, 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 when you hear the just be realistic, when you get programmed to give up on your dreams, what is happening is you are shrinking the size of the window that you view the world through. And that's people with prosperity consciousness have a much bigger view of the world. So people with poverty consciousness, they're looking at the world through the video screen on their iPhone. People with prosperity consciousness, they're in the Blockbuster, what's that big 3D theater they have, with the, 80 foot wide, 80 feet high screen. They're viewing the world through a screen like that. And when you view the world through the IMAX, that's what I'm thinking, the IMAX theater. When you have prosperity consciousness, you're looking at the world through an IMAX screen. And when you have poverty consciousness, you're looking through the world through this little 6-inch screen here. And that screen, that window, that's what determines whether you decide I should apply for this position that pays $30,000 a year, or I should apply for this position that pays $70,000 a year, or I should create my own position that's going to pay me at least $400,000 a year. That's the window that decides, well, I could open up a shoe shine stand and take care of my family, or the window that says, hey, I could launch a new tech startup and become the next unicorn that's valued at more than $1 billion. Every one of those decisions is going to be made by how big of a window that you're viewing the world. So what keeps you in the little window? That's what I should have titled this lesson, the little window, right? Let's talk about how do we break out of the little window. So there's 3 dilemmas. The first of these is what I'm going to call the guilt dilemma. And do me a favor, somebody write this in these 3 dilemmas in the comment. Dilemma number 1 is the guilt dilemma. And that comes if you have the core belief that money is bad and rich people are evil, right? That's the common one that's so pervasive in the world, billions of people have, and we talk about it almost every time we do one of these lessons. that all of that program, that it's noble to be poor or it's evil to be rich, and that, you know, to be successful in your company, you have to exploit people. To be a successful in your career, you need to be a bad parent. This is insidious, limiting belief programming that has to be blown up. So that's dilemma number one. So watch for that. Dilemma number two is the martyrdom dilemma. Martyrdom, which is, hey, I need to be a martyr. I'm insecure. I don't love myself. I'm fear-based. So if I act like a martyr, I'll feel better about myself. So I'm going to dedicate my whole life to making everybody else happy. I'm going to dedicate my whole life to other people and causes that I think are more important than me, that deserve it. Because you know what the subconscious programming here is? Because I don't deserve it. So I'm going to save the rainforest. I'm going to fund the orphanage. I'm going to build the water wells in Africa. I'm going to be the go-to counselor for all of my friends. I'm going to prevent everybody from committing suicide. I'm going to help everybody who doesn't have money. I'm going to take everything from me and give it away. Martyrdom dilemma. This is where you get a call from your friend and they say, so I see Ford, Jedi Sakes is in the chat. So I call up Ford and I say, hey, Ford, Guns N' Roses has a new tour, and they're going to be in Argentina on September 30th. Why don't we buy plane tickets? There's a scalper site. They're selling the tickets for $2,000. Let's buy the tickets and fly down there and make a weekend in Buenos Aires and see Axl and Slash and the boys. And the martyrdom said, oh my God, no, that weekend would cost me like $3,000. Do you know how many wells we could build in Africa with that $3,000? Do you know how many acres of the rainforest we could save if I spent that money instead of $3,000? The problem with that dilemma is it's based on a false premise. It's based on the two false premises. One is an either or premise, and the other one is a premise of finiteness. So if I asked Ford that and Ford had that reaction, then he would be operating from the belief that money is finite. So if he does something to manifest $3,000, he can use it to go to the Guns N' Roses concert, or he can save the rainforest. But he has to choose either or, which is the other premise. And that's not true, because Ford could manifest $6,000 instead of $3,000, because we know that nobody has a money shortage. They simply have an idea shortage. And any way we can find that solves problems, adds value, or envisions possibility in the world, people will pay us money for that. So a Ford could say, well, I can manifest $6,000, so I can go to the Guns N' Roses weekend and I can send the money to the orphanage in Brazil. It doesn't have, so that's the dilemma. And then the third dilemma is, I'm going to call the sensible dilemma. Which I'm using, that's code word for the my mom dilemma, right? Because my mom is always gonna make the sensible choice, right? If my mother knew that I buy a watch for $80,000, she would slap me into next week, right? Because she would say, what do you know what you could do with that $80,000? I could remodel my whole house for $80,000. You could buy a house for $80,000. You could, right? She would give me all of the sensible reasons why you shouldn't buy an $80,000 watch. And you know what? They all make sense. That's why it's the sensible dilemma. You say, okay, I want to take a plane, I want to take a vacation and I'm going to fly to Fiji. And it's like a 15-hour flight. I can't remember the flight, but I think it's 14 or 15 hours from LA to go to Fiji, right? So you could say, well, let's go. It's going to be 20 grand for first class tickets, or it's going to be 3 grand for coach tickets. So the sensible thing to do is to buy the economy ticket and be sitting in row 36 in the middle seat in between two people who weigh more than a grown orangutan across the aisle from the lavatory, and be miserable the whole flight, be uncomfortable. And it would be, instead of a luxurious vacation, it's like an endurance, it's enduring agony, right? At some point, if you want to kill the sensible dilemma, you understand what are the things that are important to me, right? So for me, I'm like almost 6'2". So it's really important for me to be in a plane seat that's comfortable, that doesn't have my knees pressed against the tray table that the person in front of me and their seat, right? It's important to me to be able to fly around the country and go to softball tournaments, right? Now, if you say, what about membership in the country club? I say, I could care less about a membership in a country club. I don't care about anyone's status. I don't want to play status games, and I don't like to golf. Looks boring to me. So you could say, there's this country club and it's a $500,000 membership elite. And I'm like, sorry, it doesn't mean anything to me. So my thing would be, I would never buy that because it doesn't bring joy to my life. So the sensible dilemma, what you got to do is figure out, okay, what are the things that bring joy to my life that I would say, no, I'm going to pay $17,000 more for 2 15-hour there and back plane flights to Fiji or Tahiti or wherever, because that's important to me. I don't want to be cooped up in a cattle class carrier, right? So what that is, those are the 3 dilemmas: the guilt dilemma, the martyrdom dilemma, and the sensible dilemma. And that's what keeps the window small. So part of your homework this week, I'll give you a little heads up, is looking at the 3 dilemmas and finding out, am I fallen prey to any of those dilemmas? Right now, just to be clear, because some of you are thinking this or will be thinking this, it's the sensible dilemma. I'm not saying don't be sensible. I'm saying be mindful, right? So if you tell me, Randy, I make $30,000 a year, it would be insane for me to pay $20,000 a year for a plane ticket for my vacation. I would say, you're absolutely right. This would not be a prudent decision for you to, if you earn $30,000 a year, to pay an extra 20 grand for a trip. Be sensible. I don't want you to go in debt, right? That was the last show we did, was how to get out of debt. So I'm not saying debt, but I'm saying, okay, you make that decision when you make it. When I first became a professional speaker in 1990 or 91, I was flying, 300, 400,000 miles a year in economy, because it would not have been prudent for me to pay for first class tickets, because I needed the money to grow my business. I started my business from scratch and I had to keep investing in it all along. And so don't misinterpret what I'm saying, to go into debt or to make decisions that are not prudent. But there are people, and again, I love my mother with all of my heart, but she would be one of those people who would never make the non-sensible choice, right? I shared the story on my YouTube channel one day about when I went to visit her. And so my sister and her husband came over, their kids, and we wanted to watch a movie together with the kids. So I said, hey, let's watch a movie tonight. Let's order pizza. And my mom said, great idea. Let me see who I have coupons for. Like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, this guy has this, Pizza Hut has $2 off, and Shakey's Pizza has buy one, get one free. And this, Papa John's has $5 off. And she was going to totally make the decision of what pizza to buy by who had the best coupon. Because every coupon that comes in from anywhere, she puts them all in a drawer in the kitchen. And then when she needs to buy one of those things, she goes to the coupon drawer and sees who has the best coupon. It would never occur to her to say, do I like Pizza Hut pizza better than Papa John's pizza? Because that wouldn't be sensible, right? So that's why I'm saying, okay, gotcha, Paula, understand, thank you. You can live your whole life that way, but that's living from poverty consciousness. At some point, I want you to get to the level of consciousness where you can do the not sensible thing to say, yeah, I'm going to give myself a spa day. I set this project at work. I killed it. I did a great job. I need a little reward for myself, and I'm going to take a day and go to the day spa. So what we've got to do is expand the window, and that's done by expanding your prosperity consciousness, okay?
Thanks for listening. Join our online family by signing up for your free account at www.ownyourfamily.com and begin your journey to freedom. Want to get there faster? Book a strategy call with us at ownyourfamily.com/book a call. As always, be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to our podcast and channel so you never miss a future episode.